right.
Hello, live stream peoples.
Ooh, live stream. Why is she so good at this all of a sudden? Jesus Christ.
Live stream, hello. Entertain the live stream lane. You're in charge of the live stream audience.
Well, we don't really have an audience, but hi, live stream.
It's just always terrible that we just go on the live stream and then all stare at our phones for the next 5 minutes. So somebody needs to talk.
Do you have the chat put up? As to why we need an opening sense. It's like the stream won't be starting soon.
Yeah, we need to get our.
I have one.
We need to get all our OBS back to where it should be. It kind of all fell apart, and I just never really rebuilt it.
I have a template of just a stream starting soon thing.
Yeah, but I would of course want my own.
Well, yeah.
Let's see. So I need to edit this.
Are we not using the iPad? Waited last
Well,
week.
because you reminded me that this isn't quite the same as when I do it with my friends online, that I don't have to record the screen, so I can just kind of have this sitting here and that'll be fine. Right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Is this regular OBS? There must have been an update to it. A couple things look different.
I ran an update last night when I turned it on.
Oh, okay. There was a couple like little things that I saw that were different.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Episode 58. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Howdy Radio, the Next Generation, episode 58. I'm Brandon.
I'm Lane.
And back with us by overwhelming special request is our good friend Tyler. What's up, Tyler?
Not a whole lot. How is everybody?
Doing pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Before we go anywhere, we gotta tell Tyler how much everybody liked having him on the show. I saved this for the show. I haven't told Tyler this really, but everybody really enjoyed having you on the show last week. Everybody listened to the episode, and everybody was like overwhelmingly positive feedback of, we really liked having Tyler on the show. Tyler did a really good job. Everything he said was worth listening to. Everything he said was very well said, well spoken, and you had just a ton of compliments from everybody.
Which we don't get a lot with just us two anymore. We just repeat what we've been saying for the past 3 years.
You're right. That's a positive thing about adding Tyler to the show, is it just mixes up what we've been doing regardless. So I think people that are listening are happy that there is something else there to make something different than what we've been doing. But at the same time, it's not just that they're happy that it was something new and different. I think everybody thinks Tyler did a really good job. So
Well, I appreciate that.
So welcome back, Tyler.
Great job, Tyler.
Thank you.
We got a pretty cool episode this week. We have a brand new Howdy Inc. show announcement coming up here in a few minutes. That's going to be our main event for this episode. We'll get there in not too long, and then we also want to talk about, we've been playing the new Streets of Rage 4 game on the Switch the last couple days. Rick and Morty comes back tonight. We got some wrestling talk to get to, so that's what all we've got for this episode. So we'll get there. But before we do, let's talk about our week. What did we do this week, guys? Anything fun?
This week I played, because I've been looking for a game to play with my friends, as I said last week. I was like, I need to find like a PvE kind of game to play with all my friends, and we started playing Destiny 2 on the computer. So that's been really fun. We've been like kind of grinding that out, getting
Does our
some cool
computer
stuff.
run Destiny 2 well?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, what have you been doing that is non-video game related? Let's throw that into the mix.
I've been on a lot of like hangout calls like with my friends and stuff, and I also started watching Mr. Robot on Amazon Prime Video. So
another mention of. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot to mention something too. Hold on. I got too much stuff to talk about. Let's rewind. The very beginning of the episode, like the very first thing you heard, sounded different than what you normally do, and that's the little ukulele, little jingle that plays as our transition music. This week is is different. It is not played by me when I played it originally like 3 years ago. We have a special guest ukulele player this week, and that is our good buddy Special Keezy. Kyle did the music this week. He sent me a message last night that said, "Hey, I just got a ukulele today, and the first song I want to learn is the Howdy Radio song." And I thought that was awesome. Like, that's such a cool compliment to me.
yeah.
So I was like, all right. He's like, I think he asked, like, hey, do you know the chords to it? And of course I was like, no, I of course do not know the chord names to it. So I had to come downstairs and get my ukulele. I really honestly haven't played my ukulele in a while, so I kind of had to kind of mess with stuff to remember how to play it, and I've messed it up 100 times since. So me and Kyle got on Hangout last night with our ukuleles, and we had like a ukulele learning session.
Yeah.
So he's very new to the ukulele, so he didn't pick it up right away. But I was like, if you get it good and you get it to where you like it, I was like, record an audio sample of it, send it to me, and I'll make you like the special guest ukulele transition player of the week. And then that gave us the idea to like kind of run with that. Taggart ended up on the call with us, and he was kind of messing around on his acoustic guitar playing in it. And I was like, well, record yours on the guitar, and we'll do that. We'll use that for the next one. And then I want to do one like you guys were using for your band stuff, the app like that, where you were making music with each other. I was like, we could make, multiple people playing the transition. So I think that's something we're going to do for the next few weeks is special guests and different transition music, because why not?
All right.
So good job, Kyle, on learning the Howdy.
And I heard it actually did sound pretty cool.
So I was getting mad because it takes practice.
Yeah.
And it takes a little while.
Yeah.
But he stuck with it all night long, and I taught him part of Imagine. I taught you that on the ukulele a long time ago, Tyler.
Yeah.
And that was those were really the only songs I could remember how to play on the ukulele.
Isn't it just like the first and third string? Like, I mean, I feel like I remember it being as basic
It's
gets.
pretty easy, yeah. Yep. That's why it's a good one to learn. It's a great song.
I can play that on Guitar Hero at 600% speed.
Cool.
Because it's a really slow song.
All right. So sorry that I forgot to mention the Kyle thing at the beginning. Now, where were we before I had to go backwards?
Streets of Rage, I think.
Streets of Rage. That's in the second segment.
No, I was talking about like what I've been watching.
What you've been watching.
Yeah.
What we've been doing. All right. So that's where we are. What have we been doing besides playing video games? You've been hanging out with your friends. Tyler, anything going on really?
I went on a run in the middle of the week, and then towards the end of the week, me and Mama went on a long walk throughout Deer Park.
I want to get in on that, and I keep saying that, and unfortunately I have not yet. But I've been doing some exercises here lately, and I've been saying that maybe I'd like to start running also. I haven't ran purposely in my life since probably like 8th grade, but it's something I'd like to do. So maybe if I just keep saying I want to do it, that counts.
Yeah. Maybe.
What we did a fun thing online today. We got on Zoom today with a bunch of friends and family. We had like 12 different groups on the call. Some of them were just a one person. Some of them was like a family of people. And we organized a big old trivia game, and we played that today. And that was a lot of fun. Did you you guys like that?
Yes,
yeah, definitely.
Sure.
We did pretty good. Our team got fourth.
Yeah, just by 5 points.
Yeah. We hosted it. Technically Liz hosted it. Liz got all the questions, read all the questions. This was really her thing. And we actually gave out prizes. That was $25 gift card for the winner, and second and third place got something too. So I thought it was pretty fun. We did bingo a couple weeks ago. Today we did trivia.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple weeks we'll figure out something else to do also.
Yep.
Cool. Was there anything else that we were supposed to mention during this segment?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. What else? I just feel like that's not a great What's Up segment. What else? What else is happening?
I mean, it kind of reflects how everything's going right now.
I guess.
It's a whole lot of nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? There was nothing else this weekend. What do we do Friday?
Friday. Oh, we haven't talked about the shrubs at all. Our entire front
cool.
yard looks completely different.
Yeah, great example of something to talk about there. Yeah. We've got all kinds of bushes in the front of our house, in front of our porch that we no longer wanted there, so we decided to get rid of them. And we used our neighbor and his truck to wrap a chain around bushes and rip them out of the yard.
Yeah.
And it
It's
worked
very
pretty well.
satisfying.
Yeah.
So now we don't have any bushes in front of our house, and we now have growing grass. I don't know how long it takes to grow grass. I've never done anything like this before, but I've owned a house for 2 months now, and apparently that's what we're going to start doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? That it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Friday was on Bandcamp. You could buy music, and Bandcamp would not take a cut of the money whatsoever, and I thought that was really cool. So there's all kinds of artists that I would like to support during these times. So I bought an album on there on Friday. Lane, I was talking to you about, like, should I buy this album on Bandcamp or should I subscribe to this artist on Twitch? Because that's the artist name is Hannah, and that's primarily where she does all of her stuff is on Twitch. So I was kind of deciding on how to spend my money, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up doing both. I
Okay.
spent $10 on Bandcamp, and I spent $5 for a month on Twitch. I don't know what that gets me. Does that get me anything?
It supports.
'Cause I can watch all of her live videos. What else is there?
It supports her. And
Other than to support her, does it like give me anything?
It gets you like I don't know what her subscriber bonuses are, but a lot of them are like emotes and like those kind of things.
So no, that.
And
gets
there
me
are sometimes where streamers will have it so that, like, depending on how high your donation is or what is attached to it,
Mhm.
sometimes you get, like, filtered into, like, a certain, like, Discord and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
it's more like a one-on-one kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So you're no longer just part of the general chat. You can, like, say
Ooh,
stuff and
special
it'll, like,
chat.
show up and, like, be,
And-
like a direct message,
and
more or less.
There's also like Twitch has added a thing a couple weeks ago called highlighted chats, where like if you're a certain tier subscriber, you can like highlight your chat so then like more people will see it.
Okay.
And
I just like watching the Twitch. I just like watching the streams. So
Yeah.
I don't think any of that. I got a shout out for subscribing. So
Yeah.
that was cool.
that's always satisfying.
She called me Cap Thowdy, but whatever.
Yeah, that's always.
That's the first. I don't think I've ever heard someone call you Cap Thowdy.
I've heard that on like video games and stuff for quite some time.
There's a
Gotcha.
there's a screenshot on the computer of when I used one of my like Twitch Prime subs that you get free every month. I used on one of the Rocket League YouTubers I watch, and I have a screenshot of like, because he has like the overlays of like the recent subscribers, which is like it's like a screenshot of his face like talking and everything, and just the top right it says recent subscriber Lane 1113.
Gotcha.
So
So
I
this
just-
one was really cool. It was like right as she was like literally like closing out the stream, and she's like basically saying thanks and bye to everybody. So her music style is like Purity Ring, Fantagram, that kind of thing. So that means that her mic is like reverbed to the max because that's that style of music. So as she was closing out her thing, thanks for watching, and then I subscribed, and then she's like, thank you, Cap Thowdy 1027, and it repeated like 100 times over and over and over again as she was like still talking in the background. Like my name was still like reverberating through.
Nice.
It sounded pretty cool. It would have sounded a lot cooler if it was pronounced correctly.
Yeah.
Oh well, it was still cool.
You just hear Cap Thowdy, Cap Thowdy, Cap
Yes,
Thowdy.
that's kinda what it was. It was pretty neat. All right, we got a big announcement. Let's do that.
So what's the announcement?
You'll find out.
Tell me.
You'll find out.
Okay, so I have a question. How do you get rid of the notification of someone added to their story? on Instagram. Because, like, there have been times where, like, I've wanted post notifications from someone, and when you do that, it includes stories sometimes.
Do you mean when somebody, like...
But I have since wanted to get rid...
you can tell it that you don't want story notifications.
Do you mean when they
but
mention...
I think when I did
do you mean when you
it,
mention them on the story, or when they,
no, like Fortnite is still sending me notifications that they're adding to their story when I have since stopped asking for post notifications.
I don't get post notifications for anybody's story, so I don't know.
Because, like, it was one of those things of when I did it, I did both post and stories. Because, like, Fortnite made sense because I wanted to know when the item shop had, like, refreshed and things like
What's
that.
up?
I was like, I need to find, like, a
since
PvE...
then I wanted to stop, and I stopped post notifications, but there is nowhere in the settings to, like, stop the story settings as well. So I don't know how to do
this off from people I follow, from everyone.
Yeah, but I don't want all post notifications to go away. I don't have to, like, go back through and add certain people and, like, I wish there was more or less. I don't care who anybody else. I'm just tired of Fortnite sending me notifications on Instagram. I might have to Google that. Just be like, hey, Fortnite keeps bothering me, and I haven't played the game in 6 months. Please stop.
Played the game like a week ago. Y'all need to quit attempting to not act like you don't still play Fortnite at times.
I never said that.
Try to cover it up as because you're ashamed to admit that you play it. So both of you act like you haven't, but you're both lying.
I've
literally played it one time in probably the last 3 months.
Just
I played it maybe twice, like maybe 50. I played like two games.
We're not going to waste any more manpower on discussing Fortnite. Ready?
Yup.
Are we ready for the big Howdy Inc. news show podcast announcement?
Yes, for sure.
All right. Lane knows the announcement because he was sitting next to me last night as this whole thing kind of came to be. Tyler was on the other side of the room in the basement with headphones on and probably didn't hear us as well. So Tyler's like, he doesn't know what we're talking about here. And it involves Tyler. So I kind of liked that it worked out that way because it will involve Tyler as well. So what we're getting at here is we always come up with new ideas for podcasts, and sometimes we don't do them. So hopefully we do this one. So Kyle and I were on the chat last night while we were playing our ukuleles, and I don't remember how the conversation ended up where it did, but what we decided to do was that Helm and I have never hosted a podcast together. We've been on each other's podcast, but it's never been like mine and his podcast. That's never been done. And with the exception of like Liz, because she's always, been the main other Howdy Inc. person. Like Kyle's kind of been the right hand man for a lot of it through the years. So I figured it'd be cool to kind of do something with me and Helm. So what we have decided on doing is that now that all of the TV show rewatch podcast now is a big thing. I've been listening to the Scrubs one. There's the Office Ladies podcast, and I'm sure there's 5,000 other similar kind of things in that. So we're kind of taking off of that idea, and we're going to do a rewatch podcast of the Howdy Show. We're going to start. It's essentially going to be a mini series podcast, is what we're going for, because there's 9 episodes of the Howdy Show. So you can only do so much. Yeah. So we want to basically do an episode.
Your finale should be Ninja Land.
We'll get there.
Okay.
So we have 9 episodes, and we want to basically do an episode for each episode, and then watch the segments, talk about the segments. To where if you're watching the live stream, or if you're watching later on YouTube or whatever, you'll be able to see the scene that we're talking about as we watch it together, and then we'll break it down, talk about where that scene came from or whatever. So then the other thing that we want to do too is to get special guests on the show that relate to each episode of that as well. So like the first episode, me and Kyle will be the host, and maybe we'll get Liz on the first episode because she had a spot on the first episode. Dave was on the first episode. The infamous Helm falling off the couch while we were wrestling was a part of the first episode. So having Helm on here to talk about that would be really good. Kyle was not a part of the first episode. That was That was one he was not a part of. But starting at episode 2 and the next few going from there all had Kyle, and Kyle's ideas and everything were in there.
Well,
so.
When Kyle, you and Kyle interview me, correct?
Yeah. So, like, already in my head, like, I can't wait to do episode 2, because episode 2 had Keezy's crib, it had Howdy Size, it had we interviewed you about, like, politics or something stupid.
Yeah.
So those are all, like, pretty classic Howdy show scenes. So, like, obviously you would need to be a special guest for episode 2. That would be a for sure thing.
All right.
And then we go from there. And then, you know, episode 3 would have whoever's associated with that on down the line. And that's what we want to do. And hopefully we can crank that out in a reasonable amount of time. I don't know exactly when we're going to start it. Mm-hmm. Kyle's going to kind of be the producer guy of it. He's going to run his side to where he can play the videos, and he kind of does all of the grunt work on that. So I'm pretty excited about that, because then I don't have to do it. Mm-hmm. He's got a way cooler setup, so he might as well be the guy that does that. So
the setup is still cool, though.
It is.
We just don't our setup a lot, but like not even just like the mic and some stuff. Like I get compliments about that kind of stuff all the time. So.
Well, so then the Ninja Land thing that came up last night also, because you guys remember a couple years ago we went up to Kyle's to record a commentary podcast on I think it was on the Keezy show.
Yeah,
is what Kyle was running at that time. Mm-hmm. I was never real happy with that. I don't think it went well. I don't think I did a very good job on it. I hadn't done a podcast in probably 5 years at that point. Gotcha. So I just didn't think it went real well. I didn't think it sounded as good as I wished it would have. Mm-hmm. So we thought, okay, well then maybe we'll do it again. Why not? So we thought maybe run through all of the Howdy shows and then make the finale.
So and it makes it a nice solid number of, to say it's a 10-part miniseries to do 9 episodes and then Ninja Land.
Yeah, there's 9 episodes of the Howdy show, and then at one point, one of the ways that we tried to bring back the Howdy show at one point in its history was we started releasing videos called Howdy Show Shorts, because I got to the point where I was like, and I don't want to talk too much about it now because this is all stuff we'll want to talk about on there, but still, you know, it got to a point where I was like, I'm having a hard time, I feel like, coming up with like 15 minutes worth of material to where we need like 5 skits to make that happen. So as opposed to like releasing nothing, like let's just come up with a 5-minute skit here and there and just make that, and we'll just call it a Howdy Show short. We did 3 of those before that idea just kind of fizzled out. Gotcha. So I think maybe we do, I don't know, maybe we do an episode that is just dedicated to the Howdy Show shorts. I think maybe that's a possibility. Maybe just isolate Ninja Land itself. Like, because that's how most documentaries are, or like stuff like that anyways, is you do most of them, and your last episode is the where are they now, or there's like the B-side kind of aspect, so you do the 9 of the straight up, and then your 10th episode is your 3 shorts, and then just its own separate piece, because that kind of makes sense that Ninja Land is its own, it has enough substance to be its own standalone. I was even thinking maybe the Ninja Land one could be the finale, and it could be like a 2-parter, because that's a 45-minute long movie, and I mean, we could break that into 2 different things for sure. Different guest on different episode, maybe something like that. So that's just what's being kicked around in my head at the moment. Gotcha. So what do you guys think? That's a good idea, or? Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. I'm thoroughly looking forward to episode 2. And I want to get because not everybody, like, you know, will I be able to get on the show as a guest. But I'm thinking, like, you know, there's a couple people like from episode 1 that, you know, maybe I could get them to just like record a little video of a like, where are they now, or do you remember making this video or something, and then maybe we can just like inject that into the show or something like that. Because that was I think it was last year was the 15-year anniversary of Howdy Inc. So I thought of, you know, kind of doing a documentary almost on the first episode of Howdy Show. So I think that is kind of just evolving that idea into doing it this way, podcast form. So gotcha. Yeah. Wait, is it really been? How old was I in Ninja Land? pretty young.
I thought I was like 2 in Ninja Land.
You were.
Something like that.
I mean, I guess that
Liz
math
was,
can't add up.
Liz was pregnant with Lane at the end of Ninja Land filming.
Yeah.
So do the math.
I was 2 going on 3.
Something like that.
Oh yeah, because I would
bad
I would have turned 3 at the beginning of the year. Lane was born at the end of the year, so that adds up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that. I guess there ain't a whole lot more to talk about with that. We don't even have a name for it yet. That's not something that we figured out. But Kyle said he's going to work on graphics and all that stuff, and Kyle always does a really great job with graphics. So that'll be cool. And we'll get it on all the podcast platforms and everything. And this might be one that you really want to watch instead of just listening to. We'll make both versions available. But if you're doing like you are with this and just listening, then you won't get to see all of the stuff. The Howdy Show was a visual. It was not just a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one you'll want to watch on YouTube or wherever it ends up living, which, well, I guess the Howdy YouTube is where it'll be. That's it.
Yeah.
That's super awesome though.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I'm having fun thinking about different stuff to do with it. It'll be fun to do a show with Kyle because him and I have not done anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So something a little different. And if there's anybody I want to talk to about the Howdy Show, it'd be Kyle, especially with the, episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5 were like all Kyle heavy. He was like the star of the show almost for those few episodes. So the last few he was not, so he won't really have a whole lot of insight on that, but it'll still be good.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Alright, we want to bring up Streets of Rage, Rick and Morty, and AEW.
That's a super cool idea though.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to beyond that. If we could do like one, if we wanted to, like, we could like record it live, kind of, and like get everyone in a Zoom call. Like I go chill in my room, Mom could chill upstairs, you could get the computer and like all just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
That could be cool.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, is that with the special guests, I want to do them separately, not all sitting right here. I want everybody to have their own window.
Yeah.
Yup.
That and like I've seen some YouTube videos recently where they basically redo the bit like 8 different times. Like there was someone was doing like a virtual game show basically, and like was quite clearly on a call with these two people on a screen asking the questions. They went through the entire like 18-minute long video just with them, and then did the other person and like stuff like that. I don't know, it comes across as kind of like ingenuine, if that makes sense. Like I'd rather be able to react to what Dave is saying and what you're saying at the same time, as opposed to getting the same prompt that Dave got with like different things stacked on top, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That does make sense. All right, ready? I don't think there's going to be a very long segment either, really. So.
Wait, what are we talking about?
We got Streets of Rage, Rick and Morty, and wrestling. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. So I took a little break from Animal Crossing this weekend because Streets of Rage 4 came out. And it came out for all, I think it's on every platform, if I'm not mistaken. It's even on the Xbox Game Pass if you have that, so you can just play it on there.
Nice.
So Streets of Rage was an old game that was very, very popular for us Sega Genesis kids growing up. It was a must-have, in my opinion. All three of the original, the first 3 Streets of Rage games, I had all of them. And like everybody that I knew that was a Sega kid, like, I mean, it was a must-have. You had to have Streets of Rage. They were essential games for the Genesis. So they were very fun. And they haven't made one since the 16-bit days. And then they finally made this new one, Streets of Rage 4. So I was pretty
Oh,
excited.
so this isn't a remake.
No, this is a new
I
game.
assumed it was like the equivalent of Resident Evil 2 of like
Oh, okay.
this already existed. Here's new graphics.
No, this is a completely new game. They've been working on it for a while now, a couple years now that they've been talking about it. Yeah, it's a brand new game.
Gotcha.
It's got a couple new characters in it. So let's talk about the game. So we bought the game. It was a $25 game on the Switch, or you can do it on the Game Pass, like I said. I chose to do it on the Switch because we could have 4 controllers and the 4 of us could sit there and play couch co-op together. It does have online as well, but the couch co-op is really what I was looking for with this one. Because we used to play 2 players on the Genesis all the time. There was no 4-player option on the Genesis. So it's a basic side-scrolling beat-em-up, I guess, is the genre that game is under. The graphics obviously are updated since the Genesis days. They're more cartoony looking now, I guess. What art style would you say the game is?
I mean, I think they look like how the other games compared to them look, but just like cleaner cut.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if you still put like Michelangelo on top of the game, it would still look like the TMNT side scroller.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Like I think to each its own. I think that kind of game has its own art style.
Okay. It's almost like a cell shaded style, almost like that was really popular there for a while, but it's not quite that. I like the graphics. I think they look really cool. I think all the animation of when you're fighting and beating people up, I think it all looks really good. I think it's a very good looking game.
Yeah.
So are you guys? We have played it. We played. I think we said there's 12 levels.
We're on stage 6.
We beat stage 6, did we not?
Oh yeah, we did.
We just beat
it.
stage 6. We played 1 through 5, I think, last night, and tonight while we were waiting for dinner, all 4 of us hopped on and beat one more level. So we're basically halfway through the game at this point. It's just a few hours worth of playing, so it's not too long of a game. But who knows how many times we'll have to retry the later levels as they get harder and harder as they go.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think as halfway through the game? What's your thoughts?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think I'm half bad because I'm the one that always gets to like the boss fight the first time around.
Yeah.
It's always just me.
Yeah, we were playing last night because when you get done with the level, it ranks your 4 fighters of who did the best and whatnot. I kept getting last place. I don't know. I guess I'm not very good at the
I
game.
got first place a couple times, and then Tyler started getting first place, and I started getting second.
So, is it a game you would recommend? Like, you would tell your friends, like, oh, I'm playing this game, maybe you should check it out? Or more just, my dad is making me play it with him? Or...
I think there's a middle ground. I don't think
Yeah.
my
You can
friends
be
would
honest. I
enjoy
don't
it to
care what you
recommend
say.
it, but I don't feel forced to play it.
Yeah.
So what about, like, on the Game Pass? Like, like, I guess that's mostly speaking to Lane, because Tyler plays mostly on the PlayStation. But, like, what about on the Game Pass? Like, oh, hey, like, we can all 4 hop on and play this game because it's on the Game Pass? Or your friends would be like, what the crap is Streets of Rage? Nobody knows what that is.
It's personally, I don't think it's like a game that my friends would play. It's definitely a more retro game. It's not a first-person shooter like everybody just plays now. So I think we like it more because we like those retro kind of games. So
Like I loved playing The Simpsons, and especially the TMNT one.
Yeah. Yeah, those are classic games. I mean, how could anybody not like those games, in my opinion?
Yeah. I could play The Simpsons one over and over again. That game is so fun.
Yeah, those were great games.
And this one's cool because you unlock new characters as you go on. Like we have 5 unlocked now, but like with The Simpsons, I mean, you're only limited to the family.
Yeah. And this one I'm looking forward to, like, as you go further, you can unlock, I think, like, different costumes or something or another. Or not so much costumes, but, like, it has, like, the 16-bit equivalent of, like,
There's
what
also
the character
levels.
looked like. So you can,
There's also retro levels.
there's also
that
retro
you can
levels that you have to
find.
unlock, too. And I'm not sure if that just happens as you progress through the story and you get those levels, or if there's something that you actually...
I think it's like
have to
a
do
secret passage, and it's
get.
like
I wonder if it's XP based, because I've noticed at the end of all the levels, there's those 3 little hexes closer towards the end of the bar. We're about halfway through, but I wonder if those are like
so
big unlocks.
We are essentially playing it, even though we selected normal difficulty. There was an easy difficulty. We selected normal. We're playing it. The cheap way of playing it, I guess, is the way I'm trying to say it. So there's a couple different reasons for that. One, there's essentially like a friendly fire mode that you can turn on or off. Quit eating your fingers. So you're just punching everywhere in the game, and there's a really good chance of you punching your teammate because there's 4 of you on the screen and there's other people that you're trying to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So we first started the game and we realized we started punching each other. We got in each other's way, and it takes health away. So we're like, nope, we got to start that over and turn that off. So we did. And then there was also an assist thing that we turned off, like once we all died at some point, where it gives you a couple extra lives. But it gives you a couple extra lives, but then in turn, it makes how much points you get beating a level considerably less.
Yeah.
So it it dings you for having more lives, which is cool. But I think it's going to get to the point where, like, to unlock these cool things, like you're probably going to have to take it off of hold your hand mode.
Yeah.
We're having to run the game back at least 3 times to get enough XP.
Yeah. I was trying to mess with it today because I was going to just play it by myself. I was just going to like pick a level and just play it because I know you can go into level select, but you can't go into level select until you have beat the game completely. So that wasn't an option.
Not even like to replay levels we've already played.
No. So we gotta beat that first. So that means we gotta stick with it and keep playing it because I don't want to not. There's a lot of stuff that I can't click on right now because it says I haven't beat the game yet. So.
Gotcha.
I gotta stick with it so that I can have all of those options. And
which is cool because I'm glad that there's still a game that does that. Because like, for the most part, that doesn't happen anymore.
Meaning what?
Of like, in order to get these cool things, you have to like actually like go and complete the whole game. Mm-hmm. First of all, the fact that there's like a whole game handed to you on checkout is a little not the status quo anymore. Usually, like, you're handed 30% of the game, and the rest of it will come in DLC in the future. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to, like, it rewards you for just sitting there, playing the game, beating the game, and then after the fact, you'll be handed some cool stuff for going through and beating it.
I know what you're talking about because that's the only thing, like, you talk about anymore is how, like, you don't actually buy a game anymore. But I think recently, at least in the past year or so, that has changed a lot. I think since a couple of the big EA failures, I think people have realized, like, we're gonna lose a lot of money if we don't just actually put in the time and like do that kind of thing.
I agree that microtransactions have gone down, which I think is what you're getting at with EA.
I think that's mostly what you're referring to. And I do agree that I feel like we're kind of on the other side of that trend that was plaguing the video game industry there for a minute.
But at the same time, there's a reason why Destiny 2 can go for free is because they have 5 DLC packs that are related to it, which have made the game 5 times as much as buying a basic game.
Microtransactions. I mean, there's certain games in their economy that's the way that they work is that they would rather pull you in for free or for cheap or whatever because Fortnite's the example of that also, and it works for a lot of games. But there's some games that you should just be able to pay for and just have the game.
Yeah. But like for Destiny, I do understand. Like it is free, but there's also a lot of stuff to do without buying DLC. Like yes, there are like $20 DLCs that'll get you a lot more stuff, but the base game by itself has a lot of stuff to do. So like, I don't plan on buying a DLC for that really anytime soon.
Yeah. And I felt the price point for Streets of Rage 4 at $25. It was on sale on the Switch even. It was like 22 and some change or something like that. I guess because it's brand new or something. I'm not real sure. Mm-hmm. So I basically paid $25 for it even with tax. And I've read, I mean, it's not a very long campaign. We've spent however many, 2-3 hours we've maybe put into it realistically.
Probably, yeah.
And we're halfway through the game. But again, it might take us longer to get through the back half of the game because it'll be harder and we'll have to retry levels and stuff. So
I bet we'll get in the 7 to 8 hour range. And that's just with the base game before, and the extra levels and stuff like that.
And I think an 8-hour game of the 4 of us sitting there and playing through is well worth $25. I think that's a good value for that game. Mm-hmm. It's been fun because, on all the different social media sites that I'm on, everywhere, I'm a part of, a Sega Genesis community wherever that lives, whether it be just following hashtag Sega Genesis on Instagram or subscribing to r/Sega Genesis on Reddit. So all the different little Genesis communities I'm a part of. Mm-hmm. And it's cool when a game like this comes out because it makes everybody in that community excited. So all weekend long there's been Streets of Rage posts. All of the different social medias have been much more busy because
Yeah.
there's actually something Sega that we can all kind of attach to for a little while. So that's
Gotcha.
fun. Being a lifelong Sega kid, it's fun when stuff like that
Yeah.
happens again, because it doesn't get to happen for us Sega kids too often anymore. So pretty cool. There was a question on Jeopardy the other day that involved Sega. How did that one go, Tyler?
It was I think the category itself was who made it, and it said something like, "Here's a Switch," and then like proceeded to describe Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, the most recent one, and the guy said Sega, and he was dinged as it was wrong, and the next person answered Nintendo and was considered correct. They answered a couple more questions, then came back from the break and told him that they were also going to accept Sega. And I still not quite sure how I feel about it, because like it makes sense, because like I mean half the characters' names, I mean Sonic is Sega.
Another publisher of the game.
So we looked it up, and because I thought that too, I was thinking to myself that it's made by Nintendo, but they just have the licensing rights to the Sega characters. But that was not correct. They're both publishers of the game.
Yeah.
They're both listed as publishers of the game.
And I felt like
so-
I slightly knew that going into it, because I felt like I remembered like logging in at the screen and there was like the whole Nintendo thing, and then it said Sega, and then the title card showed up.
Yeah.
But part of my problem with that is even Jeopardy just regularly sometimes likes to like do very basic sentences that are like, anything that we said cryptic in the last time goes all out the window. Here's the very simple answer. We're handing this to you right now.
Yeah.
So in order to say here or that's a Switch
Mm-hmm.
is very misleading. Of like, at that point you're expected to say Nintendo. But if
that
you're
was
going to
the right
accept Sega, say which two are affiliated with this thing. So now you can get the easy Nintendo answer, and then someone like him or like you can feel rewarded when they know the back half of it and can say Sega as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very misleading question.
What is your guys' opinion and knowledge of Sega? So, I mean, you guys know I have like a Sega Genesis sitting over there.
Mm-hmm.
But just in general, there's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just, you guys as video game kids did not live through any Sega hardware. So,
Yeah.
what is your knowledge or thoughts or opinion, or no matter how little or much it is, what do you guys have?
I just enjoy Sonic 2 with Tails. I mean,
Okay. So you guys
I don't know a whole
played-
lot about most of the older stuff, let alone Sega.
Mm-hmm. So like you guys have played Sonic. I guess we really haven't sat down and put a lot of time into the old Sega type stuff.
And even with the Sega, or I guess the quote-unquote Sega stuff that I have played, has been on a Nintendo system.
Right.
Like the main Sonic game I played when he like turned into a werewolf, that was on the Wii.
Yeah.
And like there are certain, and then like I play all the mashup ones. I love the Olympic games, but those
Yeah.
are all on Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing that I've actually just straight up played on
What
a
was
Sega
that game called?
was just the original Sonic games that we've played on there.
Saw it up and down.
No, what was that game called?
Sonic Underground.
The game, not the show.
Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a lot of Sonic games through the years, and a lot on the Nintendo as
Yeah.
well. The newest Sonic game, Sonic Mania, is one of the best Sonic games ever made. That game's fantastic. That's on all the platforms, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it was fun for me as a kid back in the 90s. Like, now you've got the PlayStation versus Xbox, and I guess versus PC. That's the
PC
console
Masterclass.
wars that are going on in this day and age. But like, it was super fun, being a kid and living through the 90s console wars as well, with Genesis versus Super Nintendo. And I was the Genesis kid, and my friend had a Super Nintendo. But I think more of my friends had Sega Genesis during that time than friends that had Super Nintendo. And then it just went from there with the Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast, and then that was it for them. But
It was funny a couple days ago because I've started to play a little bit more GTA on the Xbox, and I sounded so, because I've been playing a lot more on the PC recently. I started so PC Masterclass when GTA took a little bit longer to load. And I was like, I can't wait for this thing to get an SSD in it. And I was like, what have I become?
Is that what you kids call it? Is PC Master Class?
Yeah.
Because the subreddit I follow is called Master Race.
It's basically the same
it's the same thing. I've just in my head, it's always been Master Race.
I
That's
personally
what
am
Reddit
not
is.
like that. Like you and Lane are both really tech savvy on computers, but I'm a console gamer for sure.
I am too.
I mean, I literally need all the buttons to be just in my hand real quick and not like.
And Lane
I don't know,
talks
I
about
mean-
being a PC gamer, but he's plugging in a controller.
That's
so
true.
Not always.
Mostly, 99% of the time.
That is
yeah.
not. I play Rocket League on a controller, and that is it.
And you only play Rocket League.
That's
so
not true. I play
99% of the time.
I play everything else on keyboard and mouse. That's just the one game where also everybody else plays on controller. That it's just like that.
I think my thing is just really that I don't really need everything to be all top of the line. Like even when watching stuff, like just watching movies, like if I stream them and it's at 480p, I could literally care less. I can see your face, I'll still react to the movie just the same. So I feel like I don't need a crazy graphics card in the PlayStation, or like I don't need a huge box full of like all these crazy gadgets. I need whatever PlayStation hands me and a controller, and I'll be satisfied.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I have a computer that, I mean, it's a very modest gaming computer, is putting it probably nicely. To me, it's just, I mean, for one, the cost of having a PC that will stay up to date to play the most current games is too much money. That's just all there is to it.
I'd rather pay for a console in 5
but the-
years.
but
that
the
just
only
And
thing-
I'd rather pay for a console because once I own that PlayStation console and I decide what game I want to play on it, as long as that game says PlayStation, it will play on it.
Yeah.
I don't have to be like, how much RAM do I need? What's my this and that do I need? Will my computer run this.com or whatever? That's just
PCGameBenchmark.com.
That's
I go to
just-
that site almost every day.
too much. The
I
compatibility.
think the only problem
is
I should
the
have to worry
biggest
about
thing
is
for
how
me.
much storage is on the console. I feel like that's the only like problem that I can have. Is like that's the only way you can possibly not play a game on the console.
But I think
Is if you just have already played too many games on said console.
The only thing that I think our computer has a little bit of trouble with is the graphics card. I think our RAM and our processor are too, like, well, RAM is kind of cheap, so like we can upgrade to 16 gigs like kind of any time, and our processor is like a good, like, kind of top of the line one. Our graphics card is just not like crazy good.
Our processor is more middle of the line than it is top of the line, but yeah.
Well, like, from what, because I go onto that PC Game Benchmark, which is how I find like what the specs are for games, and like they have like a graph that's like the minimum and recommended, and like with the processor, like usually with the recommended, it's most of the time over the recommended thing. So usually the graphics card is the only. I think one of these days, me and you should just like split a new graphics card or something, or maybe I just do it because I'm the only one that would care about that.
And that's $300 or $400.
I know.
And
That's why I said
stupid.
split
See, but
originally.
at that point, I'd rather just throw an extra 100 on top of that and get the PS5 than to throw more into the next two $60 games that you're going to be able to unlock getting that new graphics card.
Yeah.
But like, just it's
I'm glad we have
it's
the
still
computer that we
different.
have. It plays Fire Pro.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. It plays Tony Hawk Underground.
Yeah.
That's, to me.
And Clone Hero. I love Clone Hero. That's the only reason why I come on to the computer.
So for me, those are PC games for me because those are PC games.
Yeah.
But
everything else.
But I play
play it on the
PC games. I don't play those kind of games. I don't.
I understand.
You're besides Fire Pro, you're playing ROMs of other games that you could play on the PS1 or something like that. So like, it's and.
I'm all for whoever wants to play anything on whatever they want to do, but it does seem that there's definitely the stereotype of the whole PC Master Race people they're usually just a little overboard about I'm a PC gamer, and like that's annoying.
Yep.
But I mean, there's a million annoying video gamers out there that type on the internet, but one of the most annoying is the PC Master Race type people.
I still think that the Xbox versus PlayStation is so incredibly stupid.
Oh yeah, I was talking. Did we finish talking about the '90s console wars? I guess so. Whatever.
But like, cause
Well, I mean, still on that, there's that thing that went on Instagram a little while ago. That was the graph. Did you see that?
that was like how many Xboxes
the
are
very,
in the
very
Xboxes?
like it started with NES and it was copies sold.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just went up, and then like the SNES came out, and those went up, and then like would end up surpassing NES. And
Oh,
then
I've seen that kind of stuff.
it was crazy because like it went from like 360, and 360 was going on pretty solidly, and then all of a sudden the DS showed up, and the 360 graph was the smallest thing in existence.
Yeah.
Like DS shattered.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think I realized that, but like
Yeah.
you look at copy, I think because it was consistent copies sold, I think is why the graph started to get smaller.
Yeah.
But it was like DS, like I mean, you could still buy a DS now and thoroughly enjoy it. Like that's one of the timeless consoles that doesn't age poorly.
A lot of my video game shopping's done at Target because it's just kind of convenient. So, but I mean, you look at what they have on their shelves, and I mean, there's the Switch that is obviously the main thing that's there, but the 3DS is still right next to it, and there's still stock in there, and I don't know how well they're selling at this point.
3DX, XD, XL.
Yeah.
I mean, you can add
There's
as many
still
letters
quite a
onto
few
it, but
games that I want to play on that console that I never did. So.
and I think that just goes to show that just like you don't need a whole bookcase underneath your desk in order to have a good time. Like you can literally have a console that just like sits in your hand, play wherever you want. I mean, that's why.
But like,
the
it's
Switch
not just
broke the
that. Like, you
internet
don't
for a
just
hot
need
second
like
of like it's just such a cool idea, and you just
like Jake has
I
like
mean,
a
the
you don't
Switch
make
is-
crazy
laptop.
attachments. It's just the console. You just play.
We're a couple years into the lifespan of the Switch now, and you can't walk into a store and buy one because they're so
Yeah.
popular right now that they're not on shelves. They're on eBay for 3 times the amount because of
It's just
people
convenient
being
and just it does the job.
butts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
Nintendo does a great job of they don't flex their specs. They're not like, we have all these teraflops and gigaflops, and they're like, we got Mario and we got
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
We got
And
the
I-
actual games that you like.
And I appreciate
It doesn't
that,
matter
as
that
opposed to
they
like the
look like what they
PlayStation
do.
conference that happened, where like they didn't have the. I guess they didn't have the information that I was looking for.
That
Like,
anybody,
they didn't
it wasn't
show the
just
picture
you.
of the
It was
console. They
everybody.
didn't show the controller.
It's just specs.
He just
Numbers.
yelled weird words at me, and I was just like, Nintendo doesn't even try and do that.
Yeah.
The main guy comes on
But
the screen
they
every once in a
know-
while, gets translated out of Japanese, and he
But they
says the new Mario game's
but
coming
they
out, and I get
s-
excited.
They still know their audience, PlayStation and Xbox do, more so than Nintendo. There are people out there that want to know how many teraflops.
And
that it
especially
has and
with
stuff
people
like
who are
that.
talking about
So
how
if
this is going to be like the PC of consoles, and if they're trying to get all these
there are
PC
people that
gamers on
wanna know
it,
that
I mean, that's
stuff.
fair.
sharing all these specs like that gamers know.
But at the
it's
same
very
time,
important.
I appreciate that Nintendo's out there just going like, we just got this awesome game. that
Yeah.
everybody.
Here's
in the
Mario Party
freaking world
27.
is
You're
gonna
gonna love
play.
it. Here you go.
Yeah.
And then I get excited.
And they still make quality games.
I want to.
Yeah, because like Mario Odyssey, that was the first like
That was a
new
fantastic
Nintendo game in a hot minute that I thoroughly enjoyed playing. Like
I
I sat
love
down and I
Mario
beat the crap
Odyssey.
out of that game.
I will
Odyssey.
say though that I feel like I'm a little disappointed with the current Mario Party title.
I think that's because you just kept rolling twos.
No,
I agree
I
with
feel
that.
like it's not a full game. I don't feel like there's $60 worth of game built into that thing. There's only a couple levels to choose from.
Well,
I
when you
just feel
play
like
the
it's-
first 3, it unlocks you 3 more. So keep that in mind. But
Still,
I think the mini
it's not
game
a whole
quality
lot.
is where my disappointment is.
It is for sure not
Because like the
as
Wii
good.
had crazy mini games that like really got you into the game, and
I think that's also because you played that for so long, and now it's a new thing, and you're just like, oh, this isn't as good as the old one.
I'm just like, where can
I
I, climb
don't-
up the palm tree? Why am I not beating people in this game? Where is the spam A games?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I don't
it's
think
different.
that the current title is as good as the Wii games were, and I don't think the Wii games were as good as the GameCube games were. So I feel like Nintendo really doesn't so much care about the Mario Party franchise at this point. I don't think they put much work into this.
I feel
game.
like it's just
But whatever they
the
don't
concept.
put in that, they do put in Mario Kart. I
there's a
love
lot-
the new Mario
There's a
Kart.
lot of other places, yes, and it just seems like they just don't care about Mario Party, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, it
Well,
does
you
suck.
also can't do a lot of different things. Like, the only thing you can do is switch up it's the
New
same
bo-
concept.
there's new-
You walk
you can
around
do
a
new
board, you
boards,
get some
new-
stuff.
There can be stuff that's added to it.
But honestly, at the same time, just do what Sega did with Sonic. Just put like the last few things of Mario Party all into one game, and just make it so that the next Mario Party is Mario Party 1 through 3, and that's just the new game.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I'd say that, because I used to hate when people combine or remaster stuff, but Sonic Mania does a really good job of here's old stuff and here's a little bit of new stuff and here's newer looking old stuff.
Yeah.
If you layer it right, it looks really cool.
And Mario Maker 2 is still getting updated.
Yeah.
They just added a whole new thing to that where you can build your own worlds and play each other's worlds, and they've done a fantastic job on updating that and adding stuff to that. They do the same thing with Smash. They keep up to date on that. Mario Party is just not something. I know it doesn't sell nearly as well as any of the other games that we just mentioned.
Which is crazy. I guess that's just
I
what
wish
our
they
family plays, I guess, is why I think it's crazy.
It's been something that we've played for a long time, We started playing it on the GameCube, and every time one comes out, we're still interested in checking out the new one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that went on for a long time.
Yeah.
So Streets of Rage 4 is out now. Go play that. What else did we want to mention during this? We wanted to talk a little bit about wrestling, and we wanted to talk a little bit about Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty comes back tonight. It's on at 11:30
I feel like we could just talk about that in this segment, because I feel like we won't. Oh, okay. I was going to say, I feel like we don't need it. That'll be a 5-minute thing.
Tonight, Rick and Morty, the other 5 episodes, I think is specifically what it's called.
Yes.
Starts tonight at 11:30.
Yeah.
I think we're going to watch it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I am too.
I think I need to go back. I guess it's a little too late to do it now, but probably throughout the week before the second episode comes out, I'll rewatch season 4.
Yeah.
Because I remember me and you started watching season 4 when it first came out, and I felt a little underwhelmed.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's so hard to make a show like that be what it was for the first 3 seasons. Because
they just made such a good show that it was just it couldn't.
Because our family mostly watches sitcoms, and usually the formula for a sitcom is it's about 9 seasons. Your first 3 are the foundation. Your best seasons are 4 through 6, and then it goes down around 7 through 9.
It's
but
probably,
Rick and Morty.
That doesn't matter if it's a comedy or
that's
anything
most.
whatsoever.
That's true.
That
just
for a couple of shows that I've watched,
there are of course some differences there, but for the most part, I'd say somewhere in the 90 percentile of TV shows that have came out in the history of TV, that there is very few shows that you can say episode 8 was at their best, or season 8 was them at their best, or season 12 was that show at its best. That does not happen.
Yeah.
It just does
Except
not.
for The Simpsons.
Simpsons
Seasons 6 through 12 is about the peak of Simpsons' existence.
But the beginning was fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, but Rick and Morty is different in that case. That season 1 of Rick and Morty was ridiculously hilarious. Season 2 somehow upped the ante. Season 3 had Pickle Rick, which broke the internet.
Yeah.
So then I guess the first few episodes weren't a Pickle Rick, so I felt underwhelmed.
But you also
Rick and Morty is Rick and Morty, and I enjoy it.
I hate when people say that. Season 3 is not just Pickle Rick. That is a single episode. I don't like that people do that. It's
there's a reason why there are fun.
Yeah, I know there is because it's popular, and yes, it did break the internet. But I feel like that episode
deserved to be.
That episode happened, and it kind of just threw away everything. I don't remember most things after season 3, because after that Pickle Rick episode, everybody was like, "Oh, nothing will beat Pickle Rick." And then I don't think I watched most of the rest of the season 3, besides a couple episodes, because of that. And I feel like it kind of ruined the experience for me, because everybody was just like, "Oh, Pickle Rick is the best episode."
You are the kind of person that if everybody starts talking about it, then you're against it.
Kinda, yeah.
Yep. Everybody's like, "Oh, watch Tiger King," and Lane's like, "No."
It's not
just how you are.
No, that wasn't just that.
I've been that way in my life.
I was just done seeing it on every single social media ever. That's what I was.
It's just an example of, if something is like that, then you're not into it, and that's fine. You're allowed to be whatever you want to be into, but whatever.
It's certain things that are like that.
We'll watch the new episode tonight, and we'll make our own judgment.
And there's also
what happens.
The new show.
I'm glad they released 5 more episodes, because 5 episodes was not enough.
Yeah, especially at the quality that it was. I felt like it wasn't I couldn't go back and rewatch episodes of season 4.
Yeah.
Then there's also the new show that is coming out. on Hulu
Yeah.
later this month.
It kind of looks like a Kmart version of Rick and Morty, but
But it's also
might
not
be
because
good.
it's the same people.
you can't tell me it don't look like a Kmart version of Rick and Morty.
It looks like something that has the same artistic, like, cartoonish
I mean,
kind of
it's a-
look and the
maybe
same kind of
it's a
comedy.
maybe Kmart's not the
Yeah.
the way to put it. And I say
think
that
you're saying
I
carbon
say
copy
that,
minus the humans.
yeah, but I don't know. I like Kmart too, so
I think it's basically.
fair.
I think it's just a spin-off, basically. It looks like
it's
the
like
same.
it's set in the same world, but it's like
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Well,
Which I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
mind
I'll
because
for
as of
sure
right
check
as
it
of
out.
right now, Rick and Morty only gives you a half a season
Yeah.
every 3 years, so I'd like to have
Yeah.
some substance to watch
And
with that kind of humor.
as I said, with I'm glad they gave us 5 more episodes. When they only gave us 5 episodes at the beginning of the season, and I was like, oh man, that sucks that it's only 5. In the grand scheme of things, I kind of liked the way it worked out. That there was 5, and then there was a shorter break until another 5.
it wasn't
as
2 years
opposed to
until.
10 all at once, and then 3 years
Yeah.
until
Yes,
it comes
agreed.
back on again. So I'm perfectly fine with them splitting up like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's that. We'll watch that tonight, and next week when we get on here, we'll say if we liked the episode or not. We'll follow up on that.
Yep.
The last thing I think we had to talk about on the list of things to talk about was wrestling. We can't go
Yeah.
a week without talking about wrestling.
It's live this week.
This week coming up is actually live again. And by wrestling, I just mean AEW.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows that at this point. No, let's talk about WWE before we talk about AEW.
That's true.
The rumor going around right now is that WWE is possibly being sold to Fox/ESPN, and that the deal might be done as soon as mid-May, which is just like a week or two away.
Literally, as you said that, I just thought of something. That would make WWE a Disney product.
Did you not see the thing I posted in the group chat of Vince McMahon drawing the Disney thing?
I did, but I don't think it registered with me that Fox was Disney, and that's why that
Oh my
made sense.
God. It's just
Yep. So
A
there,
crazy
if you needed
capitalism.
another reason to not be a WWE fan, there it is.
Yeah.
That's that. Even Dave, who is the most hardcore of hardcore WWE backers, was like, "That's really disappointing. Like, I don't really know what to do with that information.
because
what to do with that
honestly, don't
information?
be
You stop
disappointed
watching
with-
the stupid product and let it go.
Vince,
But you can't be
Vince
disappointed
can't go
with
a month
Disney or
without.
anything like that. You got to be disappointed with Vince that he's
Of
not going
course.
to throw it down the family tree. The fact that he's ready to call it quits and not hand
No,
it to the
he's-
family.
He's ready to call it
I mean,
quits
there have been
because they don't have
storylines
fans.
of his family being called the authority and like basically running the business like actually on camera. So I mean, I guess running a business
I think
as
everybody
a,
assumed that
as
at
a
some
bit
point
in wrestling
that,
is different, but
that Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and even Triple H was all going to own the company at some point once old man Vince was done with it. But it seems like he would rather have a payday, I guess. And of course, none of us know the inner workings of anything. He might sell this company and then give those people, $1 billion each out of the cut of it. But then they don't own a wrestling business.
Yeah.
So maybe they will one day open their own wrestling business. One of my coworkers brought that up. Like, what if they started their own after this happened? Or what will
And I
most
kinda would
likely
hope
happen
so.
is that they will get hired to do their same jobs that they're doing, owned by somebody else. But you never know.
and realistically, while it does suck that they wouldn't be running it, I'd much rather have a Disney product of wrestling that has those people writing as opposed to a McMahon-owned property with McMahon writing.
Yeah, it's hard
What's
to say
happening?
because WWE has sucked so bad for so long now that obviously the people that are doing it aren't good at what they're doing, or it's all Vince's fault that craps all over the good ideas. There's that.
Well, it's not just that, because all these
So-
people have been in the indies, and all these people have
So, but,
shown such good talent, and then they go to the E and just get buried.
yes.
And then come to AEW and because I thought that
They need to stop bringing
I
people
thought
to
Jack
AEW.
Swagger was going to be so stupid and what a waste of a hire, but I think Jake Hager's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
right now he's still doing the whole Kmart Brock Lesnar, but I mean, there's
Lots
definitely
of
something.
Kmart references today.
There's a lot of Kmart.
I need AEW to stop
objects.
signing E people. It's annoying.
know,
But in
Zack
that
Ryder's gonna be
case,
there
though,
in a
I
minute.
really like Jake Hager. I mean, if you want to say that you can't purchase, or purchase is a weird word, sign people from AEW, you don't have an AEW champion right now. Because
But
Dean Ambrose is right now the champion. And so if you want them to stop, then you
But
shouldn't have wanted them to do it in the first place, because then John
There's a fine
Moxley...
line. There's a fine line of I don't want it to just be people that didn't work out in one company, because we are we're kind of an indie wrestling family. So I think I'm speaking for all of us. I think like we're kind of more. I'm not speaking for all of us. For me, I am more interested in like, who's this new guy that can come up that I can learn, or I've seen at little indie shows and they come up. I'm more interested in that than who can they get from the other show. And that's partly just because I'm so anti-WWE at this point that I don't know, like Zack Ryder's one that just got released. He will 100% for sure be showing up in AEW.
Yeah.
That sounds boring to me.
He's never done anything for me, but in WWE.
But again, Jack Swagger was awful.
That's his WWE character that we all hate so much. He was a part of the Bullet Club, and he was with all of these guys, so he has history with these guys. I didn't realize that. And that's not something that we were there for, so we just have to see how that stuff goes. Yeah. But at the same time, I agree with that,
because my favorite people are like Paige and Orange Cassidy, which are both just
new people.
Just straight up new people.
Right.
I thoroughly enjoyed those storylines way more than, unfortunately, the Cody storylines right now.
Yeah, but at the exact same time, you also I say all of that, and at the exact same time, I mean, Chris Jericho is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
So
I think he's been at places to the point where you can no longer just consider him an E person, though.
Yeah, but he was for a super long time. But yeah, I mean, he's got a huge history in all of the companies as well.
But still, I think they're gonna bury themselves if they are the company that takes WWE rejects. They're just gonna bury themselves.
What do you think America is, though?
That's what WCW did. That's what TNA did. I mean, it's not
the second Hogan left. WCW took Hogan, and even though that was like great and all, like with the NWO and that kind of stuff. But like if they keep just taking those kind of people, especially like.
But that's sometimes how it has to work. Especially you have to take the ragtag, beat up, not as useful toys to make a solid good product. If everything is all polished,
but like if I think
the thing is that we know that we have to know and that we have to think about is that all of these people that we don't like because of what WWE has made them become.
You more or less just dislike Vince McMahon when you dislike a character.
Yeah. So that's that. We don't need to go crazy.
But like if they would have, if Ricochet were to be released and AEW would have signed Ricochet, I'd be. But I don't think.
There's certain people that, of course, that I would love to leave WWE and come there.
But I think he should be the same thing he kind of was in Lucha Underground, which isn't. I think he should not show his face. I think he should be like a luchador, like how he was in.
But the nice thing is when you go to AEW, they let you decide that.
Yeah.
They say, how do you want your character to be? You get to come up with that stuff. Yeah. That's how wrestling has been since the dawn of time until the last 20 years when WWE decided that they would have a staff of 30 writers decide that for you. Mm-hmm. And obviously that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's that. So this week, WWE and AEW are both live this week coming up Monday and Wednesday night. At first, last week, they were under the assumption that they were going to be able to have a crowd, but that is not going to happen now. Surprise, surprise. But in Florida, they announced that on May 1st that you were allowed to run at 25% capacity. So they were going to be able to run Daly's Place or something like that and actually put some people in the crowd. But then right after they announced that, then their governor said, actually, that's a really stupid idea, so let's not do that. Mm-hmm. So, but it appears that they are still going to be able to run live as opposed to taped, which AEW has been for the last month or so with the same 8 wrestlers on it. So it'll be nice to see some new people and some new
fresh faces,
new stuff going on. So hopefully it'll be a little better than it was the last few weeks. It got a little stale the last few weeks.
And luckily the tournament is over. That is no longer something you have to worry about until Double or Nothing.
Yeah. I haven't had a whole lot of bad things to say about AEW so far, but the current tournament that they just wrapped up, the TNT Championship, I feel was terrible. I think it's probably the worst thing they've done yet. And
I mean, even with the people they had, there were... I mean, I sat there and just thought of a couple things that, It could have been Dustin and Cody, and it could have been a fight against the brothers, again a double or nothing, and that would have been cool to go full
But it was
circle.
just very obvious what was going to happen, and it's exactly what did happen.
Jake Roberts was like, "Oh,
So-
Caesar," and then here we are.
Yeah. So, check out wrestling this week. I think that's all we got for that, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right. I think that's all we got for this. Let's get this thing wrapped up.
Honestly, at this point, I'm missing Jake the Snake saying stuff. I'd rather listen to him say Caesar and then Lance Archer do something as opposed to just Lance Archer just beating someone up for no rhyme or reason.
And then this week is Cody versus Joey Janela. And I'm
Like,
super
that
happy
sounds
that
like a good
I'm super
match.
happy that Joey Janela is going to be on TV.
But don't put him against Cody because that's just
Obviously,
that's a
Cody
smash
wins.
match.
So they'll put on a good match, but Cody will of course win.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready?
Yep.
All right, I think that's all we've got for this show. It was a little weird because our main segment wasn't our longer segment of the show.
Yeah.
The show announcement earlier was not as long as our rant that we just went on about whatever we just talked about for however long. So shout out to Kyle again for the awesome ukulele music that you have heard multiple times throughout this show. Nice job learning that. I think Taggart's going to play his guitar next week for the transition music. So maybe we can just like make a thing. Like if you want to do the transition music, if you want to learn the song, learn it, figure it out. Apparently I'll get on the internet and teach you how to play it, is what I did last night. If anybody wants to do that and come up with your own version, we'll use it as a special guest transition music on the show, because why not?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can play it on your clarinet. You can play it on your trumpet. You guys could like play it together.
That's true.
That could be a transition music one week. All kinds of different stuff. You were working on GarageBand. Recreate the song in GarageBand with like a bunch of different instruments or something.
All right.
All kinds of different ideas we could do with that, because why not?
For sure.
All right, I think that's all we got. Stay tuned for more information on the new Howdy Show watch along podcast that is not actually named yet, but we'll figure that out here soon, and hopefully we'll start doing that here soon. We'll let you know on the Twitter how that goes. Follow us at Howdy Inc. on Twitter. That's where I post pretty much everything that we're doing. So follow Tyler on Instagram and Twitter. Where are you at? Or just Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram at TyY216.
And Lane?
On Instagram at LanyaEast1113 and on Twitter at Lane_Wiley.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram. CapThowdy1027 is where you can find me. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about the new Rick and Morty episode, and I don't know, we'll figure out what happens between now and then. Hopefully we beat Streets of Rage and we can give our final thoughts on that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
All right, Tyler, thanks for coming by again. Hopefully
Thanks,
you
bud.
did as good of a job this week as you did last week. I'm sure all of my friends will let me know. And Lane, thanks for always being there.
Yeah.
You're always here, so that's cool.
Yep.
All right. See you next time.
See ya.
Not gonna lie, once you said that, there was some pressure all of a sudden. I mean, like, I forgot about it as I started talking. But at first little bit, I was, oh crap, I got something all, like, intellectual.
Yeah, you did fine. Goodbye, live stream.
See ya.